Today, my DJI Mavic Air 2 hands-on review. I'm going to go over why this compact little guy is great for photographers and videographers alike, the new features we're getting, compare some of the specs to its predecessor, the Mavic Air, and also how it beats out the Mavic 2 Pro in some features as well. Hey guys, Felix here with Quadcopterguide, and on this channel I help you get the most out of your drones and other filmmaking gear, like your Mavic Air 2 for example. I just wanted to let you know that I plan on covering this thing in great detail, further detail that I'm able to go into this video right now, so if you're interested in more content on this thing, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell next to it. When you take the Mavic Air 2 out of its box, there it is, you can tell this has not a lot in common with the original Mavic Air. As a matter of fact, this kind of looks like a Mavic 2 Pro. So how do those three compare? Here at the bottom the Mavic 2 Pro, here the new Mavic Air 2, and here the original Mavic Air. The foldable propellers and not having to flip out those antennas as on the original make this so much more convenient. Now before we jump into some of the breathtaking images you can capture with a Mavic Air 2, we have to quickly talk about the new camera, specifically the camera sensor. The Mavic Air 2 features a half-inch sensor. I did some digging, and I personally think it's the Sony IMX586. That sensor features a Bayer quad array. Here on the left, a traditional RGB sensor. On the right, a Bayer quad array. As you can see, the adjoining pixels can switch and capture that same color information. Larger pixels allow for lower noise and better low-light images. Here's an example. Here's a beautiful 48 megapixel JPEG straight out of the camera of the Isartal near Jachenau in Bavaria, Germany. To demonstrate what I was just talking about, we're going to zoom in a lot. In Final Cut, this was 3400% zoom. Take a look at the noise here in the sky. I hope you can see. Let me increase the contrast real quick to show you guys the noise. And now let's compare that to the 12 megapixel version, which uses the quad Bayer array. Less noise. Check out the great colors in the fields. This is one of the Mavic Air 2's smart photos. This gets you great looking images straight out of the camera without having to worry too much about settings. Here's another 48 megapixel image. By the way, the JPEGs are 21 megabytes and the DNG RAWs are nearly 100 megabytes per image. That is an amazing amount of detail coming out of the Mavic Air 2. This here is a 5-image auto exposure bracket turned into HDR in my favorite HDR software. Check out these colors. You have access to horizontal 180-degree panoramas or vertical panoramas. If you've ever wanted to have a wider shot of something, this is a normal image, and this here is a wide panorama. The Mavic Air 2 also features 360-degree panoramas. This is how I got this kind of virtual reality clip in the intro. Let's take a look at the Mavic Air 2 video features. We get quite a few options when it comes to the Mavic Air 2 in terms of video settings. Here's a clip with H.264 encoding at 4K 25p, 100 megabits per second. Check out the detail in the wood slats. Here's another clip at 4K 25p, this time using H.265 encoding at 100 megabits per second. The sun in the background, specifically here in the top left, is of course super bright and blowing out all of the highlights in that area. Now look at this. This is HDR video mode, 4K 100 megabits per second. Look at all the detail that is now picked up, whereas before it was just blown out. HDR gets you increased dynamic range even on video with the Mavic Air 2. Another one of my favorite video modes, 4K 50 or 60 frames per second in H.265, giving us 120 megabits per second video bandwidth. That is unheard of until today on DJI consumer drones. A quick look at 1080p at 120 frames per second. And here, 240 frames per second. The Mavic Air 2 is the only drone by DJI that will record HD 240p slow motion. This mode is not available on the Phantom 4 Pro, Mavic 2 Pro, or any of the Inspire 2 cameras. Now you may know that if you want the best possible video quality and maintain full manual control, you need a flat color profile or a flat image. That's what D-Cinelight gets you on the Mavic Air 2. Here's what that flat image looks like. This is applying the free Quadcopterguide LUT, which you can download on the resource page. And this is what the image looks like with a final grade. Now let's take a look at Focus Track. Focus Track combines Active Track 3.0, Spotlight 2.0, and Point of Interest 3.0. First, Active Track 3.0. As this is a fully autonomous mode, take a look and see what happens when I get close to branches, trees, or when I turn around quickly. And I'm not touching the control sticks, I'm just changing the exposure because I'm going to a darker area. Now watch here as I do a quick turnaround. You can tell the drone slightly backs up and then continues following me. Take a look at the branches on the right. Look how the Mavic Air 2 skillfully avoids them. Now let's check out a Point of Interest 3.0. Once you're set up and going, you can choose the speed and direction you want it to circle the object. While you're circling, you can use your control sticks to adjust the flight path, ending in a really professional shot. The Mavic Air 2 also features hyperlapses up to 8K in resolution. So the Mavic Air 2, like many other DJI drones, has a couple of quick shots you can choose from. You just can highlight yourself or whatever the subject is, and it'll make these kind of cool videos automatically for you. Here's the Dronie. This one's the rocket. This one's called Circle. This one is the Helix. So I guess that means this one is the Felix Helix. Boomerang. And finally the Asteroid. Let's talk about the new remote control. The Mavic Air 2 inherits the OcuSync 2.0 transmission protocol from the Mavic 2. They even improved it a little bit further. It features 2.4/5.8 GHz auto switching to cut through interference. The live stream on your cell phone is up to 1080p. Using the new H.265 encoding, it allows for smoother and higher quality image under the same amount of bandwidth. OcuSync 2.0 in the Mavic Air 2 is rated up to 10 kilometers. Of course, follow the local rules and regulations of your country and where you're flying. As for the physical remote, it feels really nice in your hands. The two little grips here where the batteries are on the inside is nice to grip onto. The control sticks are stored at the bottom of the device. In the middle there's a USB-C port, and the control sticks are the smart controller style. To mount your smartphone, you now pull the device holder from the top out like this. It's spring-loaded to hold your smartphone. Then you unplug the cable from the left side here, and that attaches to your phone. It comes installed with the iOS Lightning cable, but there's cables in the box for USB-C and micro USB. That's how you install your phone and you're ready to go. And you're ready to use the DJI Fly app. That's right, DJI Fly app on this one, not DJI Go 4. Great news for those of you guys that have a smart controller or are interested in one. The Mavic Air 2 is going to be compatible with it. I reached out to DJI and they said around 2 weeks after launch there will be an update for the smart controller, and then it'll be fully compatible with the Mavic Air 2. So how does it stack up to the original Mavic Air? Well, I will do a full comparison video on that soon, but initial testing shows that OcuSync 2.0 on the Mavic Air 2 is a huge improvement over the Wi-Fi signal from the Mavic Air. The new camera with the quad Bayer array, the HDR features on photo and video, those improvements alone are worth the upgrade. The focus track features are really nice to have. Professional looking images and videos with reduced effort. Isn't that what everybody wants? The new C5 remote, I'm a big fan of. It's comfortable to hold in your hands. I've got relatively large hands and it's still very comfortable to hold. There's huge batteries in there which will help charge your phone, so you don't have to deplete your phone when you're flying. It's great. It's clear who this new Mavic is aimed at. Hobbyists and content creators who are ready to step up their image quality from their drone. Final thoughts on the Mavic Air 2. I can't wait to dive even deeper into the Mavic Air 2 in future videos, but it's proven it can take great images and videos. The battery life is great. I haven't done a full battery test yet. I'm sure you can get 30-minute flights if you're doing everything just right. I know it's rated at 34, but let's just be realistic. Nobody flies in perfect wind tunnel conditions. If I had to pick a couple things to be improved upon, the access to the micro SD slot is only possible if you unfold the rear arm. I know, first world problems, right? Also, the battery. On the Mavic Air 2, there's 2 brass battery slots or connection points in both sides of the body here and here. The battery latch is now metal. So when you insert the battery, the two brass strips get shorted out, and that lets the drone know that the battery is fully inserted. I don't know if it was early firmware or maybe my specific model, but I got a couple of battery errors early on. As a matter of fact, with the latest firmware I'm testing, which is still beta, I have not seen these errors, but I figured it was worth mentioning. Finally, if you plan on using this thing for a lot of active track, I recommend you pick up the DJI Care Refresh insurance. The Mavic Air 2 does not have sensors on the sides or the top, which of course the bigger brother, the Mavic 2 Pro, has, so technically it is possible to crash this thing in active track in certain conditions. As a matter of fact, I got it to do that just so. I don't know if it was early firmware, or just the lack of sensors, or maybe I screwed something up. But in this clip here, you can see the active track tries to go forward, it notices there's a branch in the front, and then it pushes it to the right to try to go around that branch. Well, on the right, there's another small branch. So I don't know exactly why that happened, but I figured I'd share it with you guys. Stay tuned for further testing on that. I am not willing to risk my last set of propellers testing that just yet, but I'll be sure to do that in future videos. Hey, don't forget to check out the Mavic Air 2 resource page, where I give you guys access to full-size sample images, the Quadcopterguide, the Cinelike LUT, and also details on the video guide I'm working on for the Mavic Air 2, which will help you get the most out of your Mavic Air 2 whenever you get that. That and more resources are there, so be sure to check that out. Hey, please do me a favor, check out the DJI Mavic Air 2 with the link in the description below. It lets DJI know you guys are interested in my content and the Mavic Air 2, and heck, they might even send me a future drone to test and review for you guys. Which part of the Mavic Air 2 is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below and let's get a great conversation going. Also, if this video was helpful to you or if you found it entertaining, I'd love it if you give it a like. It really does help out the channel. In the meantime, check out some of this other great content on the channel. I'll see you soon.